So what is this called? Brahma Upasana. Right. Panktam meaning? Panchabrahma. So Prithvi, Lokapanktam, Devatapanktam. So 3 sets of macro, 3 sets of micro. Right?
Where do you read the Pankta Brahmopasana? It says Pancha.
It's not the
Last class, Chandraji said it's
because that Panktam comes in the end, right?
Group of 5.
Group of 5. Right.
So it's called as
Another name for it.
Pankta Brahma. Another name we can use that way also. Set of 5. Because we have seen that.
Pancha Pankta.
Because it comes from the Pankti meter, they say. Pankti meter, Chandas. Like Gayatri Chandas, Anushtup Chandas. Pankti is also one Chandas. Other importance of 5, because here Vedas, that 5 sets we see everywhere, right, in Vedic literature. Another important thing is in Veda ritual, that 5 factors that we are always involved in yajna, right? What are the 5?
Wife, husband,
Right.
kid, Homa and
Yajamana, Patni, Putra, Devavittam, Manusha Vittam, they call it. Devavittam means Vedic mantras. The Vittam, wealth. Mantra is a wealth in yajna. Manusha Vittam, resources all over wealth, required. So Prithvi, Antariksham, Dyaur, Dishaha, Antara Dishaha, one set, Lokapanktam they call it. Lokas. Avantara Dishaha. Right. Means the secondary directions. Then Agni, Vayu, Aditya, Chandra, Nakshatrani, Devata Panktam, Apa, Oshadaya, Vanaspati, Akasha, Atma, Bhutha Panktam they call it. Followed by the micro, which is here in our own body, right? Prana, Vyana, Apana, Udana, Samana, Vayu Panktam. Then Chakshuhu, Shrotram, Manaha, Vaka, Tvaka, Indriya Panktam, all the limbs in the body, Indriyas. I mean, parts of our body. Then other one is Charmam, Mamsam, Snava, Asti, Majja, Dhatu, the different Dhatus, Dhatu Panktam. So, okay. Let's see. So the earth, the sky, the interspace, Antariksham, the heaven, the main quarters, the intermediate quarters, the fire, the air, the sun, the moon, and the stars, the waters, the herbs, the forest trees, the vanaspati, forest trees means, herbs means Oshadaya, right? The space and Atman. So far, regarding all living creatures, and then come those regarding the soul, Adhyatmam. Soul here means this micro within our own body. Prana, Vyana, Apana, Udana, and Samana. Eyes, ears, mind, speech, and touch. The skin, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, and the marrow. Majja. After analyzing and determining these, the seer said, all this is Panktam or fivefold or pentadic. The one set of fivefold grouping sustains the other pentadic grouping. Okay, continue.
A familiar Vedic meter consisting of 5 padas of 5 syllables each is technically called a
Pankti.
Pankti. And the students of that age were extremely familiar with this emphatic sound arrangement in language. The attempt of the Rishi here is to prescribe a new method of meditation by which the attention of the student is brought to the fact that the world outside as well as the world within are both arranged in groups of five, in thus showing that the world of matter, Adhiloka, the world of elements, Adhidevika, the world of nature, Adhibhautika, and the world of
Adi Bhautika.
yeah,
Okay, it's okay.
and
Adi
the world of the earth, world of the within, Adhyatmika, are all constituted in themselves with a plurality that can be conveniently classified under five main headings. The Rishi is lending to the child a possibility to meditate upon an easily realizable oneness within with the within and the without.
It is only a recent tragedy that has brought into the field of Indian thought a neglect of the outer world. And this tragedy becomes an abominable cruelty against our own culture when everybody, from the good for nothing saint to the complacent idler in the bazaar glorifies his mental inertia and disgusting intellectual morbidity with the plumes of misquoted decorations of Vedanta. The rishis must have felt that unless the students are well trained and educated with the idea of sanctity of the whole, the chances are that the philosophy of Vedanta may give them a perversion in their evaluation of life. Certainly, no sage would have conceived a culture as how do you say acme if it were to yield to us only the present state of depravity, disintegration,
devilry,
and diabolic decadence, which is now our lot as a community, in spite of all our learned shastris, reliable panditas, divine saints, and holy sages. The far-sighted intelligence of the true Hindu has rightly foreseen this possibility, and therefore they prepared their children, even in their early stages, by instilling into them the idea of reverence and respect for the world without.
Concluding this grouping of the panchadic classification, the rishi, standing on the high pedestal of his own realization, declared with an authority and a power of assertion born of his own experience of truth that the subjective world complements the outer world as much as the outer fulfills itself in the inner. When the oneness of the Supreme Self is ultimately realized, it is but logical that the outer is also to be experienced to be as much divine as the inner. The divinity which Vedanta respects is not a crystallized neutron like a center within, but it is an effulgence of divinity which pervades and sustains the entire universe of multiplicity, unitude, and change. This idea of the oneness of the within and the without is amply brought out in all our sacred books, in all the Upanishads, and in almost all the characters of the chapters.
Of course, characters also. So Vesti, Samasti, Aikyam is being talked as a rehearsal for the Upasanas only, right? Same Hiranyagarbha, different set, different Upasana. Earlier we have seen Antara Hridaya, same, right? As though within ourselves. Here, for those interested, new method of Upasana with Panka as the factors. Panktenaiva Pankis Prunoti. Panktenaiva. This Adhyatmikena Panktena Eva. This Pankta within, as though imagine visualization. Upasana means visualization. As though you're filling up the total with this Pankta, the outer Pankta. Panktenaiva Panktam Sprunoti. Sprunoti is what? What is it? Balayati or filling up. Sprunoti, sustained. Here it says sustained. As though you're filling it up. Simple. That's it. So basically, Vesti is seemingly different, but then it's nothing but Andam. What do they call? Pindandam. Same. So it gives us a kind of a training for our Vedanta, where the Jiva Ishvara Aikya is taught. So it becomes easy. We are preparing our souls, for our minds, for that study, for that instruction from the Guru with all the upasanas. Next is H2 Pranabhupasana. Omiti Brahma.
Omiti Brahma. Omiti Brahma.
Omiti Brahma.
Omiti Brahma.
Omiti Dagam Sarvam.
Omiti Dagam Sarvam.
Omityetadanakriti. Hasmava. Omityetadanakriti hasmava. Apyo shravayetya shravanti.
Apyo shravayetya shravanti. Apyo shravayetya shravanti.
Omityetadanakriti hasmava. Apyo shravayetya shravanti. Apyo shravayetya shravanti. Omityetadanakriti hasmava. Apyo shravayetya shravanti. Omiti samani gayanti.
Omiti samani gayanti. Omiti samani gayanti.
Ogam shomiti shastrani shagum santi.
Ogam shomiti shastrani shagum santi. Ogam shomiti shastrani shagum santi.
Ogam shomiti shastrani shagam santi.
Ogam shomiti shastrani shagum santi.
ओमित्यध्वर्युः प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृह्णाति प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृह्णाति ओमित्यध्वर्युः प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृह्णाति ओमिति ब्रह्मा प्रसौति not omiti brahma, no. Because of the repa, the samyukta akshara. Omiti brahma. That omiti brahma prasauti. Yeah, again, same.
Omiti Brahma.
Give a pause. Omiti. Before you go to repa.
Oh, I said repa.
Before you go to repa, that balagra pause even. Omiti brahma prasauti. Omiti
brahma prasauti. Omiti brahma prasauti.
Not that kind of a pause.
It's more like ba is number.
Yeah, okay. Omiti brahma prasauti.
Omiti Brahma Prasoti.
Not even doubling. Doubling is different. That's called ditva.
The pause is somewhere. That's right.
Yes.
Brahma prasauti.
Miti brahma prasauti.
Prasauti.
Miti. Omiti brahma prasauti.
Omiti brahma prasauti.
Omiti brahma.
Omiti brahma prasauti. Omiti brahma prasauti.
Yes. Omityagnihotramanujanati.
Omityagnihotramanujanati. Omityagnihotramanujanati.
Omiti brahmanah. Omiti brahmanah.
Omiti brahmanah.
Pravakshannah. Brahmopapnavaniti. Omiti brahmanah pravakshannah brahmopapnavaniti. Only Brahmana. There is no Dirghaswara. Omiti Brahmana pravakshannah brahmopapnavaniti.
Omiti brahmana pravakshannah brahmopapnavaniti. Omiti
ब्रह्मैवोपाप्नोति ओमिति ब्रह्मा once ओमितीदगं सर्वं ओमित्येतदनुकृतिः स्म वा अप्यो श्रावयेत्या श्रावयन्ति ओमिति सामानि गायन्ति ओगं शोमिति शस्त्राणि शगंसन्ति ओमित्यध्वर्युः प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृह्णाति ओमिति ब्रह्मा प्रसौति ओमित्यग्नि ओमित्यग्निहोत्रमनुजानाति ओमिति ब्राह्मणः प्रवक्षन्नाह ब्रह्मोपाप्नवानीति ब्रह्मैवोपाप्नोति Hindi will do it once.
ओमिति ब्रह्मा ओमितीदगं सर्वम् ओमित्येतदनुकृतिः स्म वा अप्नो श्रावयेत्या श्रावयन्ति
Again.
ओमित्येतदनुकृतिः स्म वा अप्यो श्रावयेत्या श्रावयन्ति
येत्याश्रावयन्ति
एत्या श्रावयन्ति एत्या श्रावयन्ति ओमिति सामानि गायन्ति
ओमित्येतदनुकृति
ओमित्येतदनुकृतिः स्म वा अप्यो श्रावयेत्या श्रावयन्ति ओमिति सामानि गायन्ति ओगुं शोमिति शस्त्राणि शगुंसन्ति ओमित्यधर्युः प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृह्णाति ओमित्यध्वर्युः प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृह्णाति ओमित्यधर्युः प्रतिगरं
you are missing the tya ओमित्यध्वर्यु
ओमित्यधर्युः प्रतिगरं
अध्वर्यु
ओमित्यधर्युः right ओमित्य
adhyar
oh I'm saying dha instead of dva
so the dha there is a tya there is a dva tyadva tyadvaryuhu
ओमित्यध्वर्युः प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृह्णाति ओमित्यध्वर्युः प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृह्णाति ओमिति ब्रह्मा प्रसौति ओमित्यग्निहोत्रमनुजानाति ओमिति ब्राह्मणः प्रवक्षन्नाह ब्रह्मोपाप्नवानीति
again that line
ओमिति ब्राह्मणः प्रवक्षन्नाह ओमिति ब्राह्मणः प्रवक्षन्नाह ब्रह्मोपाप्नवानीति ब्रह्मैवोपाप्नोति
ब्रह्मैवोपाप्नोति.
ब्रह्मैवोपाप्नोति.
To practice.
Yeah.
ओमिति ब्रह्मा ओमिति ब्रह्मा ओमितीदगं सर्वम् ओमिच्चेतदनुकृतिः श्रावयन्ति.
ఓమిత్యేత that pause అవసరం లేదు అక్కడ, ఎందుకంటే that ka and then that is not a repa, that is a rikara, that is a swara, so you don't give a pause there, just like you give for other vyanjanas. Dhanakriti you don't say because that is a vowel, right? Rikara. I think when in India you also take care of same thing.
ओमिच्चेतदनुकृति अस्मवाप्यो श्रावयेत्याश्रावयन्ति. ओमिति सामानि गायन्ति. ओगं शोमिति शस्त्राणि शगंसन्ति. ओमित्यध्वर्यो प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृणाति. ओमिति ब्रह्मा प्रसौति.
Same thing. Brahma
प्रसौति. ओमिति
Brahma instead of Brahma, little pa uchaga, konjam one, not even a microsecond gap, and then go to repa. Brahma prasauti.
ब्रह्मा ओमिति
Brahmap, and then repa you add.
प्रसौति. Oh, I said
Ah.
प्रसौति.
Brahma prasauti.
प्रसौति.
As though as a doubling,
प्रसौति.
not doubling, but it looks like that.
ओमिति ब्रह्मा प्रसौति.
Mm.
ओमित्यग्निहोत्रमनुजानाति. ओमिति ब्राह्मणः प्रवक्षन्नाह ब्रह्मोपाप्नवानीति. ब्रह्मैवोपाप्नोति.
Little bit of reading then. I thought we'll complete the next one also.
కొంచెం ఫాస్ట్ గా చేసినప్పుడు అక్కడ అంతా కొంచెం ఫాస్ట్ చేస్తారు కదా. జనరల్ గా చాలా
Yeah, they'll do that. More, yeah, the hours while learning.
అంతసేపు ఆగేది ఉండదు కదా. ఓమితి బ్రహ్మ ప్రసౌతి అట్లా వెళ్ళిపోతుంది.
Unnadu, but still we can even in that speed you can
You
see.
can still see that, right?
Yes, in that speed, whether they are using, whether they are doing that nicely. So this is so Omkara. Again we have seen earlier, right? Where did we see Omkara? Japa? About Omkara in this. What do you know? Yes, Chandasam Prashabho. Right? In that, before that Avahanti Homa, because the best of the Veda mantras, you see, Chandasa Rushabha, Ishwarupaha. Same thing. A little bit of a glorification of Omkara, and then, the more information as to why it is the glory of it, basically. So, Om iti. thus. Brahma, Brahman, Om, iti, thus. Idagam, this universe, Sarvam, all. The sacred sound Om is Brahman. All this is the syllable Om. In the word.
The mystic symbol Om is a choiceless point of concentration prescribed for the benefit of the student of Vedanta who is constitutionally more intellectual than emotional. In their early attempts at developing a highly concentrated mind and intellect, such students too need the help of a symbol or an idea which has infinite possibilities to entertain them with its inexhaustible contents. The genius in the Vedika masters gave us Om as an ideal idol for the intellect to worship in the inner temple. Life, we saw in our introductory talks, is a constant flow of experiences, and these experiences, when observed, are found to fall into three layers as the experiences of the waking state, of the dream state, and of the deep sleep state. The life of every one of us is certainly influenced by our experiences in all these three different planes of consciousness, and they all have a totally positive influence in molding our character and personality. This would read slightly strange to the modern young man because Western philosophy have all been so far striving to discover the fundamental in life by an analysis and close study of merely the life available for us in our waking state. It is indeed difficult, if not almost impossible, to come at a right evaluation of life and its meaning by observing only a third of its field.
So, what is a Om? Point.
It is another symbol.
What symbol? Is it? It is not a Drishya Omkara. What is it called? It is Shravya. Shravya means it is a Shabda Rupa Pratika. That symbol that we see has come, as we said, much later. Somebody used the aksharas, right? Took a part of A, part of U, and then put a dot, and the came. So there is no picture. There is no picture in Shastra. It is not Shastriya. That's why Gurudev came with his own Om symbol. So it's not Shastra, it's a sound symbol only, right? Shabda Rupa, not Drushya Rupa. Shabda Omkar is a pratika. And it stands for Sarvam, all. Because if you put all the words in the universe, Om is the Karana Shabda. Karana Shabda. All are Karya Shabda. Right? Without that A, Uma, no other Shabda we can produce. That is the Karana Shabda. That's why it's called all, universe. This Sarvam, all. Om itidagam sarvam. In that way, it is all. Right? What else?
Do you want me to continue? Somebody else.
Yes, Krishnan cut. So what we are saying about Gurudev is trying to get in, what is it? It's saying here the analysis of A, U, Ma. In a way, a brief introduction to that, I think. Continue.
When the Rishi
And then A, U, Ma. People say Aum. No, that is wrong. Never say Aum. Om only. Because A plus U is O, right? Gunasandhi. Right? That's why it's called one syllabled. Ekaksharam. Monosyllabled. Om is monosyllabled. Why monosyllabled? Because A plus U, they're not two. It is diphthong. Samyukta swaraha. And then is not a syllable. It is just a part of that vyanjan. So Aum and you put
That's what
AUM, not that's
not AUM. This guy, Sadhguru, they say, "Ow." That's how they meditate.
It's not Shastriya.
Chant.
We should not do that.
So,
Om only, because A and U combines becomes O, and then that's why it's got one syllable. Om is one syllable only in that. Yeah, even there, some people do it. Even when we were chicks, we went to this TM, Transcendental Meditation, Bhavatita Dhyana. That he taught us. He was, of course, Aum and meditate. అమ్మకి చెప్పామాట అమ్మ అంటే శారద డోంట్ స్టాప్ దేర్ డోంట్ గో దేర్ ఓ అవడం లేదు దాంతో రియలైజేషన్ రాదు అట్లా చేస్తే
I think you went because somebody else paid for fee for that, right? You went there because somebody else paid the fee.
No, we went.
I actually went there like that.
Narayan Kuda, opposite Reddy College.
There's one program that happened in Country Club. There was one guy who deflected from Chinmaya Mission, started his own thing, if you remember. The dancing, he used to do all the dancing meditation.
Yeah. Sukhabodhananda.
Sukhabodhananda. Yeah. They said, okay, all the chicks, please, I'm picking the bill. Why don't you just come? I said, Country Club, why don't I go?
You went there?
I went there.
Okay.
Not only me, Prakash Bhaiya and everybody.
He was part of mission, but at least I'm talking about TM and all the how many meditation chayadam. It's not correct. Om, always so.
Before the saga, I think 3 days then he was doing this. That's actually
I'm అని కొన్ని మంత్రాలు చెప్పు. Of course, అవి seed mantras.
This one is clearly as if the sound is coming from here, then going here, and then closing it. Just making it more explicit of all something.
Okay. Continue.
When the rishis observed more and more closely these three fields of experiences, they discovered that an individual identifying with his physical body comes to live his waking state of outer gross objects as the wake.
So there is talking about the avasthatraya, the three avasthas, right? Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Continue.
The same entity, totally in oblivion of his body and the outer world, when gets exclusively identified with his mind and intellect, he comes to revel in an inner world of dreams and experiences subtle objects of imagination as a dream. When the same entity becomes forgetful of the body and its outer world, the mind and intellect and their feelings and thoughts, he comes to enjoy a world of nothingness. No doubt peaceful and joyful, and yet conscious of nothing but nothingness. He becomes the deep sleeper.
So, what is Vishwa, Taijasa, Ragnya? Prakatshena Agnya or Prayena Agnya also some meaning is there. Totally ignorant, right? In deep sleep.
The dreamer's experiences are totally different and sometimes even contrary to the waker's life. And the experience of the deep sleeper is common to all and seems to have no relationship with the waking and the dream conditions of experience. Yet, it is the experience of all of us that we can remember on our waking, all about our experiences during the last waking stage, yesternight's early dreams, and also the peaceful sleep that we had afterwards. From these observations, the rishis continued their bold and adventurous story.
Story or
Theory.
Oh, I thought story is
No.
Okay, you are special edition.
I was last in read.
Okay.
The law of memory is that one cannot oneself remember any experience of another. If one can remember anything at all, they are all actual experience of the individual himself. That is to say, the law of memory enunciates that the rememberer and the experiencer must be one and the same individual, or else memory is impossible. I can never remember any one of your past experiences, nor can you remember any one of my experiences. Applying this law of memory as a test, we find that the waker, the dreamer, and the deep sleeper are strangers among themselves, each living in its own world and seemingly having no passport to travel across its own frontiers. Since we can remember all of our experiences in all three different planes, there must necessarily be a common factor which was a witness of all the happenings in all three planes. To make it clear, let us suppose that we have on an idle afternoon a friend in our drawing room who starts revealing a slice of his biography in which he explains his despairing days in Madras, disastrous failure in Madurai, and his glorious success in Delhi. Now, we all know that Madras is not Madurai, and nor is Madurai under the Delhi. But our friend is describing his experiences in three places from his own memory. Again, the despairs in Madras are different from the disasters in Madurai, and both these sets of experiences are separate from the glorious success in Delhi. But our friend is explaining all of them from his own memory. Under such circumstances, we instinctively understand that he, our friend, lived his despairing days in Madras and himself went to Madurai where he spent his days of failures, and then he himself again left Madurai Madras zone to Delhi to reap his glorious success.
So, what still not cutting?
Similarly, there must be some entity within ourselves who is present in the waking world, who moves to illumine the dreams, and who is a distant observer in the deep sleep world. Yet, all the same, it is not conditioned by any of these three realms. The entity is, as it were, conceived as the fourth, who is the real, the changeless, and the intelligent principle. The sages of the Vedas, after indicating this much to the students of Vedanta, want them to experience the pure subject, who is the waking world, becomes the waker, in the dream becomes the dreamer, and in the sleep becomes the sleeper.
Now,
The sound Om is constituted of three syllables, A, U, and M. While chanting continuously the sound Om in the mind, the Upasaka is advised to superimpose upon these three sounds the three different planes of consciousness we have been describing so far, namely the waking, the dream, and the deep sleep. The process of superimposition is the same as the principle underlying all idol worships. We have already discussed this technique by which the mighty is seen or imagined in the meager, Shiva Tattva in Shivalinga, the divine mother of knowledge in the river Ganga, Sri Narayana in Shaligrama, and Christ on the cross. The practitioner at his meditation, when he thus trains himself consciously to superimpose the waker in him on the sound A, and then, as the sound A merges with the sound U, he gains a mental dexterity to forget totally his identity with the waking state experiences and to come to live consciously.
Live consciously.
And to come to live consciously in meditation, totally identified with the dreamer in him. So too, when he comes to the sound M, he is able to black out the entire state of plurality and arrive at a state of semi-conscious experience of all negation. Thereafter, his spiritual growth is assured in proportion to his intensity of pursuit, purity of life, and intelligent sense of detachment. Purity of life and intelligent sense of detachment.
So, this is another way of upasana. Basically, it is an inquiry mostly because it's from Mandukya. So it's another Upanishad, this kind of an inquiry. where you superimposing the syllables u, ma on the three states, avasthas. A is for waking, u is the dream state, and then m is for deep sleep, the sushupti, and the names given to that waker is Vira, Vishwa, the dream sleep is Taijasa, Prajna. And that is a micro. The macro, of course, is Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara. Corresponding micro is there always, right? So that is most, that way you can do upasana, but then it's mostly an inquiry of your higher nature, because after that the silence is the fourth, the turiya, right? Au, a, uma, om, and then the silence stands for the turiya, fourth state, right? So what is being explained.
Page 81, it says that we remember all our experiences in all three different planes, but we don't remember anything in the deep sleep, right? I don't know, maybe if I'm taking it literally, but so what's the common factor? I understand the waker and the dreamer.
Children, what is the common factor? No, now, yes, that is a common factor. The constant. What is the constant in all the three states? Three states are changing, right? Waking state, many experiences, changing, many various experiences. Common factor is there, uncommon. Waking state.
Correct, but it's
Now go to dream.
All our experiences, so that part is
where
clear. In page 81, it's saying we can remember, correct, the common factor is B.
you
It's saying we can remember all our experiences. I don't know, maybe I'm not able to connect.
all our experiences means, of course, in waking state, all my experiences, I am only remembering later, tomorrow, right?
Dreamer
In dreamer also,
yeah.
I go to a different, I take the dream body, dream body, because this body is just lying on the right on the bed. I take a dream body. Of course, we do remember dreams, isn't it?
In the deep sleep.
In deep sleep, what is happening? So I go to deep sleep, and then after I wake up, I had a nice sleep. Who is saying I had a nice sleep? Because that person is not disappearing, isn't it?
That's why they're saying that you remember
Yes.
all deeply.
Remembering in the sense, of course. In fact, in deep sleep, there is nothing to remember, right? Because it's prajna. There are no, but then there's a sukshma vritti. Because even though there are no thoughts, but then something has to be there. The rememberer who is saying I had a nice sleep after you wake up. That sukshma vritti is still there. That karana vritti. That's why it's called karana avastha. So the deep sleep state. Even though we say there are no thoughts, one sukshma, very subtle thought is there. In fact, that's what the acharya say.
Really, you're not remembering anything. You think you had a good sleep.
But
You don't know. You just think that you had a good sleep.
After that, who is saying I had a good sleep?
So
That common constant factor you're
the
talking.
experiencer is the
You
one
are-
who remembers the experience. So you are remembering that experience, but I had a good sleep, slept like a log, rejuvenating, fresh, nothing,
Yes.
right? All those are your experiences. So you are recollecting. Means you experience it, you recorded it, and you are remembering. To remember the experience, you must have had the experience.
Correct.
That's what you are saying.
Yes.
Only the one who experienced incident can remember his experience. If you are not remembering an imagined dark state, that is the difference.
So that is a law of memory, isn't it? You have gone through that so-called experience, deep sleep state experience. So these three are states. So it is you, since that experience you had, so you will have to recollect that. In what way you're recollecting? Yes, I had that good sleep. But then the changing states are changing, but then one constant factor is you, the Chaitanyam, the consciousness, because of which you are able to recover. And that is the Turiya. Yeah. Continue.
Even this practice of getting oneself fully conscious of the sound ah, and you, each marching into the other and getting telescoped in themselves, one into the other, is in itself a severe training for the mind at concentration. The conscious superimposition unfolded and again folded up, as explained above, is an equally all-absorbing occupation for the entire intellectual capacity in us, so that the true practitioner, if he be sincere and regular, gains in a very short time an infinite amount of integration both in his mind and in his intellect equipment.
Yeah, the previous paragraph, I'm still stuck in that. So what they're saying is all those u, and the mind is moving from one state to another there. Is that how I'm reading it? Because they say that the sound merges with
merger with the sound
the superimpose the waker in him on the sound So when they say it is the waker, and then this u, it is the next stage, and then is the deep state, is it? So in that one om, they are
it's a visualization.
They are going through all these three.
It's for purposes of superimposing means visualization, upasana.
Yeah, but as I said, right, it's more of an inquiry. Understandable as an intellectual understanding and inquiry. But the upasana probably that happens as part of it.
Yes. Yes, mostly
Yeah,
for
so one of these upasanas, unless you really get into the very depths of it, it's very difficult. It's there. These are there, those signs. More a problem. Upasanas, it's more of a depth is there. We need to become that.
So this inquiry comes later when we are taught the Vedanta. But initially, this is since the first chapter of the Shikshavalli is only more of a preparation. Karma, upasana, combination. Preparing. Then comes the inquiry, of course. Based on the Mandukya, Akara, Ukara. And then the Turiya state.
Here, when you say merges into U, it's merging and form, right? And then merges into U, only U exists, is gone. That's what he's saying. There's a waking state, merging into dream state, and only dream state stays. The waking state is gone, forgot, unknown. So he has taken a different shape here, right? Comes U, and then same thing isn't coming back. So there is a constant thing that's going through and remembering all these things, but that indicates there is one constant, basically the knower, sounds, and that knower is not changing.
Yes.
He's thinking when you're waking state, dream state, and deep sleep. First stage is body state, and then mind state, and intellectual state.
Yes, of course. In waking state, you are attached to the
body.
The sthula, and of course your Sukshma Sharira definitely is involved.
So that
The- yes, in dream, that's why, yes. So the waker is called the Vishwa because he is attached to his Stula Shariram. And then in dream sleep, dream state, it's a Vasana Maya. Based on your Vasanas, you get, right? You get different types of dreams. And that's why it's called Taijasa. But then it's Vasana Maya means basically your Sukshma Shariram only. Your mind, your intelligence. And then, of course, in deep sleep, there is no attachment. You're not attached to either karma, your sharira, or even karma phala. Nothing is there. It is as though, in fact, they say in deep sleep, you're also reaching Ishvara. Because Karana Shariram, the total, this is at the individual level. The total level, it's called Ishvara. At the individual level, if it is called Vishwa, at the total, it is called Virat. So that is what inquiry is. At the individual level, Taijasa, Hiranyagarbha, macro. Individual level, what is it? Prajna, there, Antaryami or Ishvara. It's called total. So the individual, micro, is trying to, as though, superimpose the micro on the macro. It's not different, micro and the macro. In this way also that upasana can be done, yes. And of course, it's more of an inquiry based. Upasana, Omkara upasana can be done that way also. The stages, steps. And then you finally merge into the fourth called the Turiya, which is the base for all of this. In fact, everything is on that Turiya. It is a Karanam. Substrate, they call it, right? Substrate. Without that, nothing exists. So you're gradually raising yourself to that level. From changing to changeless, which is you, not somewhere else, right? That is me. True me, yes. Oh, 5 minutes already. Okay, it's nice. We'll see. The other part is how they are used in the yajna, the rituals, the 3 types of the Rig Veda priest, Yajurveda priest, and then the Atharvana Veda priest and the Samaveda priest, what they say when they are doing the rituals, etc. How Om is used in Agnihotra and other rituals. So that's why those sounds, Om, Shom, Om, right? Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.
It seems to have a full class today, full attendance. I don't have any company online.